All right, so what we want to do now is we want to take a look at the Storyfest Award. Now is when we give our prize. For those of you who've entered Storyfest, for those of you who submitted a story, we're going to bring out our judges. Professor Imani Cheers is going to stay with us. She's part of this. Two of our other judges couldn't be with us today. Summer Mathis, she's the editor for citylab.com. She was one of our judges. The other judge was Betty Hudson, whom you met earlier today, former the Chief Communication Officer for National Geographic. What we did with these videos and these stories that were submitted is we sent them around to our judges. They had a template by which they judged them. They looked for quality of information, potential impact of the innovation that they were reporting, the presentation of the information, and the production value, the originality of the presentation itself. So I'd like to bring two other judges who have joined us and who will help participate in our little Innovation Idol program here. Christian Amolsch, he's from Gensler as well. He works with Jordan Goldstein. So Christian, come on out. And good to see you. Good. And David Enders. David Enders is most recently a Vice Media. Who's here? Vice News. Who knows Vice News? Oh, look at that. That's awesome. How you doing, David?
See ya.
All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to take a look at these clips of the stories. We're going to see if the originators are in the room. I hope you're all in the room. I know some are not because some come from far away. And then we're going to hear your feedback. So, but very quickly, Imani Cheers, tell everybody what you teach and why you're here.
Okay. Hi. I am a faculty member here in the School of Media and Public Affairs. I teach, I lead up our digital track, international reporting, and all things digital. That's what I do, storytelling.
And Christian, what you do?
I'm with Gensler Architecture. We have offices around the world, and I primarily focus on a lot of workplace interiors. So a lot of our work, albeit on the interior side, like Jordan was talking about today, on the building side, we also have a robust, sustainable practice as well that's part of that side of our business.
And you win the award today for shoelaces.
Yes.
I want
and I'm wearing my
and matching
and Save the Whale socks.
Whale socks? Well, that works. David, you've traveled the world. Tell people a little bit about what you've done.
I started working as a journalist in Iraq 13 years ago, 2003, when we invaded. Since then, I've worked in and out of the Middle East quite a bit. Most recently in Syria and Iraq, and now I'm back here in DC taking a little break, producing a talk show on Al Jazeera called The Stream, which, I don't know, anyone seen that? Not as many hands. There we go. Vice, Al Jazeera, yeah, okay.
That's all good. So what we have here is we have our digital expert and professor, grader, storyteller. We have our artistic spatial design eye, and we have our gumshoe journalist who's been all over the place. Let's roll in the first piece. The first piece is from a GW production team, Alana Krenin, Danielle Baglivo, and Sophie Martin. Storyfest, this is Rooftop Roots. Are you guys in the room? Where are you? There they are, okay.
Yay.
So go ahead, let's roll it.
What we're trying to do here at Rooftop Roots is inspire people to take action, grow food at their own homes, learn more about where their food comes from and the interconnections between what you're eating, how that is related to social issues in the community, and realizing that you can take individual personal steps to contribute to the community, to the environment, and making our city more sustainable. Long-term, what we're trying to do is strengthen local food systems.
All right, David, Rooftop Roots, telling us what's growing, how it's growing. What do you think? How'd they do?
I thought it was really nicely shot. It stays in this little area. Just the way it was captured was really clean and really nice. And I also liked it, actually, this might be a little unfair. I always wonder what's happening on top of those buildings they're putting up down there, and it looks so like hermetic and sterile. I thought it was really fun just to see something from there, but I thought it was really well encapsulated and just did
Christian,
a very
did you learn
good
something
job.
from it?
Well, again, we're involved in a lot of sustainable work on rooftops now, as a lot of folks have seen, new green roofs that are being deployed.
So you were
on
high-fiving while
buildings.
you watched this thing?
I mean, that's good, but again, those that we're building into projects are expensive, right? And this is actually sort of a lower mode approach to things, and we have a ton of rooftops around the world, frankly. So from a scalability perspective, grassroots perspective, I mean, it was a feel-good moment where you could see this deployed
Professor?
Across the world.
Well, I'm a little biased because
Go ahead.
Ilana was in my 2112 class, so I was like, check. But it was great. I mean, the biggest thing that I always teach is finding compelling characters.
Yeah.
And I really think the innovation is always exciting, but if you find a great character who can help,
It's got to be driven by a
got to
character.
be driven by a character. So I thought they did a great job.
So you liked our rooftop guy there?
Yeah. He was
Okay.
compelling.
All right. Easy piece, hard piece to do? Both? Who'd you do that for? Who did you do that for? Yeah. Okay, so that was my class. So just full transparency, we need to do that so that everybody knows. All right, let's take another look at another piece here. This is also a GW piece. Jesse Gurney. Is Jesse here? Am I seeing Jesse?
There he is.
Where?
Right there.
There's Jesse. Okay. So this is from Jesse. This is Blooming Biosolids. Jesse is double majoring in communication and international affairs. And let's take a look.
Then what you're left with is essentially a fertilizer that we're excited to start to bring to individuals and to landscapers and to nurseries and to soil blenders and to all kinds of folks around the area. And so we're recycling those nutrients back into the soil from whence they came.
All right, so this is a piece out of DC Water, right? And what are they doing?
So they are sort of bringing a new type of technology to wastewater treatment plants. So wastewater treatment plants, basically, many of them turn poop into fertilizers. And usually fertilizers go into farming communities. But DC Water, with this new technology, is able to refine the poop, basically free the chemicals to the point where it can be used in urban communities, and it does so with this new technology. This new technology enables it to do so at much cheaper and much more efficiently.
Imani, cheers. What'd you think of the idea?
I thought the idea was great. I want to give a little shout out to Jesse because he's a senior who came to me in January. He's never taken a production class before. He's like, I'm not an SMPA major. Can you sign me into your class? And I was like, no. And then he came back the next day, and I was like, well, I guess he came back, so all right. And he's done tremendous work throughout the semester. So for someone who's never done anything, to go out, find the story, and then put it together in the innovation. The rest of the video, I will admit, it's a little gross, like, just to be honest. But it was really good. Like, I enjoyed what he was able to find out.
Christian?
I'm a father of 3 little ones, so for me, I'm really immersed in poop on a daily basis. So
Right on,
I
brother.
actually have gotten very comfortable with poop. And
If you could only put it to good use, like
Yeah.
DC Water does.
but I honestly, I mean, the story, the innovation, frankly, was what just, you want to see
crazy.
this happen all over the place immediately. Because of its benefits, and multiple, the water quality level, you could just imagine this sort of helping us in many ways throughout the world.
Especially in developing countries, I think was what was so exciting.
It was great.
David?
Again, I drive by there every once in a while. I'm always like, what's going on in there? And so, it's great. And I'm bummed you didn't show the part where you asked him to smell the final product.
Exactly.
Because I can't remember what he says exactly, but I laughed out loud.
So it's in a bag. It looks like ground coffee.
Yeah.
And he sticks his nose in and
Says it smells like earth.
smells like?
Earth.
Like earth. So that's a nice way to say it. Anyway, my feedback to you, by the way, is I think this is really an awesome innovation. It's an important thing that every city needs to do because we all need to deal with wastewater and turn it into something productive. It's complicated. So your challenge and the storytelling challenge in this is taking something that's a complicated process and making it easy to understand as well as interesting. You might have done well, actually, with a little whimsical, almost comical music in a couple of places, right?
Yeah.
You might have played with this, so what happens after you flush the toilet? You don't want to think about that. Boop, 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 boop. Okay? So sometimes storytelling is really enhanced by the music that you
That's
drop in,
right,
right?
that's
You
right.
help set a mood.
I don't
But-
let them use music.
What?
I don't let them use music.
You don't like mood music?
Well, this was the third assignment, so no, they weren't.
I see. Okay. All right.
right.
So anyway, but great job, great effort. This next one we've got comes from far away. Barcelona, Spain. A student saw Planet Forward online, loved what he saw with a challenge to create an idea and post it based on an innovation. And it was his innovation built around some of the graduate work that he's doing. This is Javier Ponce. This comes from Barcelona. The piece is called Smart Floating Farms.
Why don't we take advantage of the sea space we have in order to transform it into a productive tissue? We need new ways of facing the challenges. Clean water, clean energy, sustainable production of food. Smart floating farms can be located in seas, lakes, and rivers. A scalable and replicable project which improves the quality of human life and the environment.
Pull the light down.
We aim to reduce food imports
up.
and produce fresh food using clean energy. The project deals with the symbiosis combination of different existing technologies in order to produce what we need more of, fresh and healthy food closer to our homes.
So kind of dazzling production there, David. What do you think?
I have already invested. I really, just communicated it very, very well. I don't think I had any questions except how do I purchase?
Yeah.
And in this particular case, the music that he used, we were speaking about music a moment ago, that helped that story?
I think it did. I think it was, I have weird personal opinions about music and
you don't like
these
it?
situations. It depends. That felt more like a sales pitch, and it felt appropriate.
So maybe not the music. Too much like a sales pitch?
It's not a music video.
It was maybe a little too much like a sales pitch for what you were going for, but at the same time, if he's looking for investors, that's a great way to go.
Right.
Kristen?
I mean, I changed into my Bermuda shorts when I was watching this because, the music and the vibe. It actually was probably the most polished of all of the ones that we sort of were able to review. It had, digital technology. It had great storytelling, good fades, people that were talking about the story. All of that was really one of the best, if not the best, in terms of that total message. Some of the things, you'd like to use the water technology on some of the fish farming things that might be happening there. There's always that political issue about how that's being done. But conceptually, that seems amazing, bringing that technology or that idea to cities around the
What
world.
did you think of the
is
idea?
good.
Certainly innovative.
It was incredible. I love the innovation. I thought it was fascinating, the whole concept of these floating farms and how you can, we see the hydroponics, and I thought it was really, really well done. And if you haven't seen it again, planetforward.org, you should check it out.
Right. Shelby Thomas, where are you? Where is Shelby? Shelby's in the back. Shelby, of course, was up here earlier on stage, was your master of ceremonies with Tom Lovejoy. Shelby has a piece here in the running called Reversing Global Warming. She's from University of Florida. She's studying marine science and microbiology and feels pretty strongly about this stuff. So let's take a look at this video.
This is the problem we are trying to solve. How can we stop this rapid addition of greenhouse gases? How can we slow the rate of global warming? This problem made me think about air purification. For example, I thought about intense chemical laboratories that have filters that have chemical binding sites to filter out and remove specific chemical toxins in their work environment, so they can work safely and prevent contamination. Now, what if we applied that to our atmosphere? What if we constructed a satellite fixture that had a chemical binding site filters that attracted greenhouse gases like methane, carbon dioxide, and nitrous oxide to the filter?
So what is this filter that you're talking about?
So this device is a device that would filter around the globe, similar to a satellite, that would have an extending filter that would be able to attract greenhouse gases.
And does this thing exist?
No, it's something that's in the process. I'm working on actually putting a patent on it.
You're doing that?
Yes.
Uh-huh. And does this come from a student project or?
I've had the idea for a while and I never put it into practice, and I got a chance to present at One World at UF, which is part of Challenge 2050, where it's similar to a summit like this, and I got to present my idea there.
And what do you call it?
That's what I'm working on right now. So right now it's unnamed, but it definitely has a good purpose.
And your bumper sticker for it is?
I guess just to reverse global warming right now.
Reverse global warming.
As long as it's not make Earth great again.
We
don't want to hear that.
But it could be huge. I mean,
We're in DC.
Professor Cheers, what'd you think?
I thought it was great. I think what's so exciting, and even yesterday I had a catch up with Aswin, and I was talking to Tara recently. It's so great when young people come up with so many phenomenal ideas, and I love that she's like, it's not named. It's like we're working on patents right now, but you all are the ones that are going to really move the planet forward and change and reverse climate change. So I was fascinated. I think
David,
it's
as a
amazing.
story.
I mean, I really liked it. And am I wrong? It's kind of like a big pool skimmer. Is that the simplicity of that? It's great, and I thought
So it
you
would
communicated
skim
it.
What would it skim?
Not really skimming. It'd be filtering out the greenhouse gases back to a normal, healthy layer to promote optimal conditions for life on Earth. And
Okay,
also,
I'm going to create an instant extra judge here to see, because we're deep in the climate place, and Jim Beiser's a climate scientist. So I'm going to ask Jim. Jim, are you going to invest in this thing? Does this sound remotely intriguing? You want to hear more, or should we all go out for drinks?
I wouldn't mind hearing more. I'm already invested.
There you go. No, give him the mic. Give him the mic. What's your question? What's your question for?
What is my
On this.
question? So if you're going to dial the Earth thermometer back, who gets to decide to what concentration?
Sorry, go ahead.
If you're going to dial the thermometer back, who gets to decide back to what?
So obviously there's clearly research that has to go into it, but we're obviously needing to take some kind of step to make a change. And that's what we have to figure out. What rate will we have to filter everything to allow everything to adapt gradually back to normal, as well as not allow any extreme weather changes to happen. So there has to be a very scientific, indeed, rate that we do this at, and that's would be part of the process, which I don't have the answer to.
I'm going to
right now.
suggest a little venture capital meeting here between the two of you. That could be fun.
To be clear, so I, of course, don't have enough understanding of what you're doing to see whether it's really feasible. But there is a big ethical question as to when you said back to normal, what's normal? And so given that we're having a tough time internationally determining what we're going to do with the climate system going forward, if we have technology that turns it back, where does it go to? Siberia kind of likes the global warming. Yeah. What happens when people are saying that they don't like where you turn it back? So that's it. With all geoengineering, it's a challenge.
Really, really interesting. Thank you very much, though. It's a fun thing to think about, and really is both ethically and scientifically, and never mind, financially, a challenging idea. Finally, Kira Summer and Sarah Merkin, also GW students. Are we in the audience? Over there? Okay, this is great. They've done a piece, we talked earlier in the food panel about food waste and all the rest. This is a piece on the Food Recovery Network called the Food Recovery Network. They're both studying journalism and mass communication. Why don't we take a look at a clip from their video?
The idea of Food Recovery Network is to take leftover food, like perfectly good food that otherwise would have been thrown away, and instead of just like putting it into a landfill, you take it and you bring it to a local homeless shelter so it can actually go feed hungry people. So that way it's kind of solving the problem of like food waste and also like hunger all at one time. It was founded in 2011 right here at the University of Maryland, and it's grown a lot since. I think now there are probably 100 plus chapters at this point, 150 plus. So it's been really cool to see how it just kind of started off as like a really tiny movement here and has just blossomed into something big nationwide.
All right, so what is it? It's blossomed into something big. How big is it?
There are over 150 chapters across the country.
150 chapters across the country. David?
I thought it was just, again, really well communicated. The food here must be better than it was at my university because I don't think anyone would have taken it. But but I liked it. I said, okay, where's it? But that was my next thought was, is this happening where I went to school? So,
Chris,
again, you could immediately see again the scalability of what this meant, not just for shelters, but you could even see like low-income housing participating in these kinds of things and how that could spread. I mean, my wife and the kids, when we were looking at all of these videos too, because we sort of had a recap, there was a happy dance that happened when they saw this, because they were like, this just, it's a great feel-good story about how we're really repurposing that food forward in a good, great way. So,
okay. How were the production values?
Again, a little biased because they were both two of my former students, but I thought they did great. I mean, I would say that again, when you can combat two major issues with one initiative, I think that's always a win. So hunger and food waste, I thought they did a great job.
One last piece I want to show very, very quickly. We had this last year for the first time, something we called a fan favorite, so people could vote their fan favorite up. This is a piece that was done by Sophie Kaplan. It got more than 1,200 votes, and so let's take a quick look at the clip of composting and urban options. So this was an urban option composting piece.
I'm Jeremy Brasowski, and I'm the founder of Compost Cab. Compost Cab, very simply, is community composting made easy. The whole idea is to connect food waste and food production in an urban environment. So we pick up food scraps from individuals, from restaurants, from hotels, you name it. We bring as much of that material as we can to a series of urban farms and community gardens that we work with to help them grow new soil so they can grow more food in the city.
Hi, I'm Christine. I work with Compost Cab, and we are at DuPont Farmers Market in DuPont Circle. And we have a compost drop-off site here at DuPont Market where people collect food scraps in their own containers and bring them here to drop them off with me.
We compost because it reduces such a substantial amount of waste.
So, Christian, I think I understand why people relate to this. It's like we all touch it, feel it, toss it. We've been to the farmer's market.
Yeah, and you think of other things too. We have such a huge rat problem in this city too. They're all looking for the food. This helps some of those things. It also is just great, again, because we can create this new fertilizer that otherwise just is thrown in the dump. So, I mean, it's a very smart approach. It's like the propane taxi idea. It's like we all could use a little bit of having this in our lives to move our food over to that stream.
David, from a production point of view, one thing I was missing was especially in the early parts that we saw there, I was missing the sound. I needed some of that ambient sound. What'd you think?
Yeah.
Ambient sound, yes. Music, I don't know.
No, I'm talking about hearing the stuff go on the pile, that kind of stuff.
Might have been
more of an audio mix.
A stronger way to start it with the dumping. But again, what I really liked about it is I could relate to it instantly. Yeah. Right? It's like every time I carry out a bag of trash and I go, I could be doing something else with this. And then for people, my dad grew up on a farm, this stuff is like a no-brainer in so many places.
How many people compost here? Anybody compost? Oh, we got a lot of composters, okay? So we get it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Professor?
Yay, Sophie. She's in my class. She did a great job.
Who's not in your class?
Who's not in my class? Everybody else.
Can I be in your class?
In here, you're more than welcome to come over. We teach advocacy-related journalism. We tell stories that matter. So she did a great job.
So it's all good. So with that, I think what we'd like to do is go on to actually open the envelope and see who's won. Our judges have voted.
Which I was not one.
She was not one because we did not have anybody who's directly related to the Planet Forward project actually seeing the pieces and voting on the pieces. I'm going to start actually with several honorable mentions because we have a couple of honorable mentions and we'd like to acknowledge the people who have done tremendous work. And we start with Andre Carter and Ramini Watson. Are you here? Come on up. And while you're coming up, actually, I'm going to also invite AJ Marcondi up. AJ, come on up. AJ, I'm going to introduce you to AJ in just a moment. The UN Food and Agriculture Organization, hello AJ, how are you, has helped to underwrite these awards. We went to UNFAO, as I mentioned last year. The students who were the winners last year went with us to Rome and presented their ideas, their stories to delegates and students from around the world, so it was really awesome. So please, congratulations. Thank you so much for coming. I have your honorable mention that you can share to the two of you as a team, because I understand you were a production team, is that right? Yes. So thank you very much. Do we have cameras? Here, let's, AJ?
Yeah, sure.
They're from to the That's
great.
And one more with the certificates in the picture. You want to hold that with me? There we go. Thanks, guys. Congratulations. Tougaloo and Jackson State. Thank you very much. Our next honorable mention goes to Ilana Krenin, Danielle Baglivo, and Sophie Martin for your piece. Let's go over here. There you go. Congratulations, Sophie. All right. Here, why don't you stand here, in between us. Hold the, there we go. All right. Thank you very much, guys. And they're from the George Washington University. Let me get to my next one here. Sorry, guys. Stay with me. Okay. The next one we've got, our students are not in the audience, but it goes to Purdue. Do we have the Purdue students still here? Why don't you come on up and get it for them? This is Hannah Abel and Oswin Chakachan.
Oswin's right there.
Oh, that is Oswin.
Yeah,
Duh.
Oswin's right
All right. It says not in the audience. What do you? Okay. My fault. My problem. This is for Verticale. I love Verticale. Awesome. What did you do?
Clumsiness.
Oh, gosh, you're kicking ass, aren't you? All right, here you go.
There you go.
No idea.
Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And let's see. I've got Sophie Kaplan here. Was Sophie part of that other project? Sophie?
Nope. Sophie's.
Where's Sophie?
Right there.
Sophie. Okay. The judges work in mysterious ways, Sophie. What can I say? Here you go. Say hi to AJ.
Hi, Sophie. Well done.
Thank you.
We went to Washington University in St. Louis together.
Bravo. Thanks, Sophie.
One of these photos is a placeholder, and they were like, why not
All
use a more
right.
recent photo?
Now our winners. Before I do the winners, I'm going to ask AJ to say just a few words about why UNFAO has invested in this and why this is so important to him personally.
Thank you so much, Frank. I'm delighted to be here again this year. I mean, I think it's an extremely important endeavor that you which I got involved in last year. My personal interest is to try to encourage young people onto sort of international platforms to understand global issues. So I'm delighted that this year, the subject of what's called the State of Food and Agriculture of FAO's report this year is going to be on climate and agriculture. And this year's prize is going to be to take the winners to the UN on a youth platform. So they have an opportunity not only to see and interact with member states at the UN, but also to put the perspective of young people forward. And the other interest that I have is really trying to see how do you take science and technology into action and apply it. But it's also the communication of that which is of particular interest. So I'm delighted again to be here.
Thank you very much, AJ. All right, we will now present the award winners and the finalists. And I want to thank the judges for what they have done. And I want to thank those who have submitted their Storyfest entries for what they have endeavored. This is not easy. Our first is to Jesse Gurney from George Washington University for Blooming Biosolids. Congratulations.
Well done, Jesse.
Great stuff. All right, here, let's let you do this, and we'll pose for the pictures. Great. New York, we will come. Next up.
Nice work.
Next is there it is. Next is Smart Floating Farms by Javier Ponce from the Institute for Advanced Architecture of Catalonia in Barcelona. He is not here, but his certificate is. We did contact him, or staff did, after he won this, and he did a video for us.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for this prize. First of all, I would like to congratulate all the finalists and the other winners. I would like to thank the George Washington University, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, all the organizers, especially the team. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to explain the Smart Floating Farms concept to the world. It will be a great opportunity for me to be in New York. Okay, thank you very much, and have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So one of the things that we're hoping to do next year with this project, with the Planet Forward project, is expand it so when we gather next year, we have students from and participants from universities from around the world. So having Javier enter like this is a very big deal for us, and he put a lot of work into this video that he did. And so I'm delighted. We will be bringing him to New York with us, so he'll be part of that trajectory. And our last winners, the last award, goes to Fighting Food Waste, the Food Recovery Network by Kira Summer and Sarah Merkin, both of them from GW. Ladies, please come on up and get your award. There we go. 1, 2.
I'm Kira. That's it.
There we go. Thank you guys very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Anything else you'd like to say?
No.
Okay. AJ, thank you so much. I again want to thank UNFAO along with all of our other funders and sponsors who have made this whole thing possible. What we will do with you guys is we'll find a time. We're going to work with AJ and Gabe to find the right time, and we will go to the UN. We will shoot a video of you, and you will actually be writing components of that, which we will post so that the Planet Forward community knows that the impact that you have had. We have had a remarkable series of conversations here today. In just a few minutes, I'm going to invite you across the street to a reception so you can imbibe a bit and network with one another some more and talk with those who are still around. Tomorrow, as you know, we've got our breakout sessions, our workshops. Those will be across the street. We've got a couple of hundred people signed up for those, so if you're signed up, please come early so that you get a good spot. You should also know that tomorrow we'll have 3 site visits for those of you who are around. We want to take you out and about. One is the U.S. Green Building Council tour, so you'll go and meet with people from the U.S. Green Building Council and see what they're doing. That's 1:30 to 3. The Common Good City Farm, also 1:30 to 3. And you'll see a green roof and grow garden site here on campus for those of you who are interested in that at 1:45. You can sign up for these or tell us about your interest in them when you're across the street with us either now or tomorrow. We had 2 mayoral invitations for those of you who recall, one from Mayor Moyo in West Palm, the other from Tommy Battle in Huntsville. If you're interested in being a student reporting team and getting a funding grant, travel grant, please see me. A couple people have come talk to me about that, and I'm really excited about that. I do want to make one correction, and I want to both apologize and make sure I got it right. It's Tougaloo and Jackson State, is that right? Sorry? Right, Tougaloo and Jackson State, so university. So my apologies for that, but we'll make sure we get that right and precise now going forward. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. No, thank you. All the schools that have come, this is amazing, and we're really proud of what you've done and where you've been. You know, I see I messed up on one other thing. We have winners' trophies, by the way, for you guys who've won, so come on back up afterwards and we'll make sure. We'll take one, what I'd like to do is take a picture with all the winners, so come back up and we'll pose, and AJ, if we can have you back here, and we'll do this with the whole group. But I want to thank you all. Tomorrow we'll have an opportunity to dive in, as I said, in sort of seminar kind of settings where it'll be much more of a give and take with some of our experts and scientists or others who are here. We're going to be working on this project over the course of the next year for next year's summit. We'd like your ideas and input, critiques and comments. Give them to me or to Dan Reed. Where is Dan right now? Dan's over here, so please do that. I want to thank all of our funders and sponsors. Lydia Botham, thank you so much. Lydia is also on our advisory board. Charles is on our advisory board. Jim is on our advisory board. Bruce is on our advisory board. If you're mingling across the street, come talk to our board members and ask them why they're doing this, what they believe in. We really believe that these issues that we've been talking about here today and so many more are vitally important. And knowing what the issue is and being able to communicate it in a compelling way so that you can grab people's attention, inform and inspire and engage is critical to getting this thing right. So thank you all very much. We'll see you tomorrow for those of you who are coming to the breakouts. We'll talk across the street. How about a drink? Huh? Would that be good? All right, and winners, come on up. Let's take one group picture. Before we go, one last huge thank you. All these folks in the green shirts, all our Planet Forward volunteers and staff, none of this would have happened without them. None of it. Thank you all. Kim, Caitlin, Dan, Jack, Taylor.
I would really appreciate it if everybody would fill out the survey that we're going to send you, also in your email where you can find the form to sign up for the site visit. So tell us how you enjoyed the day.
Tiffany, Eleanor, everybody. Thanks to you all. Thank everybody.